My name's Pete Woods. You're watching Hexham TV. Who are you?
Keith Alessi, the writer and performer of the show Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjo saved my life.
And where are you talking to me from, Keith?
I'm on holiday in Naples, Florida as we speak. It's nice and warm here currently.
Oh, very jealous. Very jealous. So you're about to start a big tour of the UK, Keith. Tell me a little bit about your show.
It's a true story. And I was a corporate executive who had a closet full of banjos that I couldn't play. I was planning on getting to them one day when I would retire. And I retired in order to learn to play them. And the next thing I knew, I was told I had a year to live. I had esophageal cancer. And this story chronicles my journey through that. And obviously, I learned to play the banjo. And ultimately, I found healing both emotionally and physically in a group of musicians in Southwest Virginia. So it's an inspirational true story. We tell it with humor and obviously with banjo music.
So where does the tomatoes bit come in?
Well, I was born into an Italian household. It was pretty abusive. And so the tomatoes are both metaphorical and physical. They're metaphorical in terms of they represent the household I grew up in, but they also gave me the acid reflux that gave me my esophageal cancer. So they literally tried to kill me. And the banjos, too, are physical but metaphorical in that they represented the life I picked for myself and the place where I ultimately found healing. And so the show really is a call to action that it's never too late to pursue a passion, that the passion might take you to a place you hadn't really thought about. I didn't pick, really, for all practical purposes, didn't pick up the banjo till I was in my early 60s.
Wow. So why didn't you pick the banjo up until your early 60s? Why did you go into the corporate system, Keith?
Well, I was born in a generation you went to work, you did the thing you had to do. And banjos were in my closet, literally. And I was going to get to them. It's like everything else. Life gets in the way, kids get in the way, work gets in the way, and you keep pushing off these things. And that's one of the admonishments that I always come to the stage with is, get those things out of the closet. You don't have to go in all in. You don't have to become a professional musician. Just the actual pursuit of the passion can be enough. And it is for me. My whole life I tried to be precise and an expert at everything I did. I'm an intermediate musician, and that's just fine. It's the process, not the end. Where you end up with. I wasn't skilled enough to become a professional musician had I gone into it, when I was a kid. So.
And how long did the show take to develop? Because it's quite something to sort of perform on stage, particularly if it's something that you've not been playing too long.
Yeah, I mean, I have no theater background. The last time I was on stage was secondary school, 50 years ago. People were watching me go through this process and said, you need to tell the story. So I entered a number of Fringe festivals in Canada, intending for it to just be a one and done kind of a thing, get the bug out of my system. And we've just done our 250th show now. We've toured all over Canada, the US. We were in Edinburgh last year. That's actually where we were seen and why we're coming to England this time around. So we got a full summer. We're going to go back to Edinburgh. We've just come off of pretty long run in British Columbia, Canada. We'll be going back to Canada in June and July. So this thing just keeps going. And as long as people keep showing up in the theaters and in the community halls that we play at, we're happy to do it. It's a passion project. I donate my gate to charity. I don't accept any compensation. We leave it either with the theater or with cancer charities. And we've raised equivalent of probably 375,000 British pounds doing this.
Wow.
So it's become an interesting second act for me.
Yeah, well done. Well done. That's a really fantastic amount of money to raise for charities. It's a terrible thing to be diagnosed with cancer, Keith. How much of a shock did it come to you?
Yeah, the thing that resonates with audiences, everybody's been touched by it, either personally or within their family. And it doesn't have to be a death sentence. I mean, I was lucky. I had a good metabolism. I reacted well to the treatments they gave me, but not everybody's that fortunate. And I mentioned in the show, I got to play in a jam at a children's hospital, a pediatric cancer ward. And these kids, 80% of them don't ever get out of there. But they have a music program for them. And it, you get survivor guilt going to a thing like that. It becomes an inspiration to you. So, I preach to people that you got to remain positive no matter what hand you're dealt, but a positive attitude in and of itself is not enough to get through, right? Metabolism is what it is, and science is what it is, but you can still choose to live and to do other things. And that's been my journey. And what's really been interesting about the show, I was an accountant by training. And for me, it was numbers and everything added up. But this has been a very different kind of a path. And there's rarely a show we do that somebody doesn't come out of that audience with a story. They say, hey, I needed to be here tonight. I didn't know what I was coming to see. So we touch our audiences, but we keep them laughing at the same time.
So that's quite a substantial number of shows, 19 shows in the UK during the run that you're going to do across here. And you're coming to the Queen's Hall in Hexham on the 19th of April, I think.
That's correct, 7:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
And we not only do the show, but we hang around. We always do an artist talk back because a lot of people want to talk. Because the story of how the show got on the stage is almost as interesting as the show. It was serendipity. The right people saw the show at the right time. It just was, it's not coincidence. There's been something on the show from the beginning, and it's kept us going, and doors keep opening up to us. So we love to talk to our audiences because it's very informative to us. If we hear the same questions coming out of audiences, then we say, well, maybe we need to tweak the script a little bit and, include some other information. So the beauty of what we're going to be able to do when we come there is it's about an 80, 85-minute show. When we're on the Fringe circuit, we got to get it done in 60 minutes because they come out with a hook and pull you out of there. If you're not done on time, you shut the lights off on you. So we can really develop the themes a lot deeper.
And how are you feeling now, Keith?
Well, it's, knock on wood here. It's been 7 years. My probability of surviving 5 years was about 14%. Wow. So I'm out of that window now. And spoiler alert, I live, folks. But yeah, I get checked up once a year and nothing's shown up, so I guess I may be one of the lucky ones. They're making great advances in esophageal cancer research. It's the fastest growing cancer amongst the civilized world. It's a function of our diet, our stress, and everything else. And it's mostly a guy thing. More men suffer from this than women. And again, I was very fortunate, and I recognize that I was fortunate. So I'm a bit of an evangelical out here on the road talking about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. You've every right to be. Well, we're looking forward to you coming to Hexham, to the Queen's Hall, Keith. We wish you all the best for the rest of the tour. And even that bit up in Edinburgh, where they're only going to get 60 minutes of you.
Yeah, actually 55 minutes this year. Yeah.
55 minutes, okay. Yeah. So
it's
we wish you a safe journey, and hopefully it'll be warming up over here in Hexham when you arrive.
Yeah, well, being spending a lot of time in Canada, no matter what you have over there, it's going to be warmer than what we're used to.
So Keith Alessi, thank you very much for talking about your show to Hexhamtv, and we look forward to seeing you in our town very shortly.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for having me on.